On a sunny day, Alice and her sister went out for a walk on the fields. Alice's sister was reading a book. Because of this, Alice got very bored. Right when she was thinking what she could do for fun, a white bunny passed by. The bunny was talking to himself. Alice was stunned because she had never seen a talking bunny before. The bunny took out a pocket watch and then...
Oh no, I'm going to be so late,
he said in a hurry. Alice was very impressed with what she saw. So curious to see what was going on, she went after the bunny. The bunny went through a hole in a tree trunk, and Alice followed him through the same hole. Suddenly, she found herself falling down in a well. The well was very deep, and Alice kept on falling down slowly. While going down, the little girl saw pictures, little wardrobes and shelves. Alice felt like she was going around the world. And finally, she fell on a soft surface. She had a long corridor in front of her. Alice got up and started to walk. She saw many locked doors along the corridor, and the bunny disappeared. Alice feared that she would not be able to get out of there. Right at that moment, she saw a little golden key on a three-legged small table next to her. She took the key and tried to open all the locked doors, but the key was too small for the doors. Looking around sadly, Alice realized that there was another small door behind the curtain. When she put the key in the lock, the door opened immediately. Alice was very happy when the door opened. Behind the door, there was a very beautiful garden. But because she could not fit through the door, Alice could not go out. When she returned to the table inside, she noticed a bottle with a label saying, "Drink me" on it. Alice took the bottle and started drinking. As she drank the potion, she began to shrink. When she got small enough, she thought she could fit through the door. But when she got back to the key, she realized that she had gotten too small to reach the table. She started to cry. At that moment, she saw a cake on the floor. The cake had a label saying, "Eat me." With curiosity, Alice took a bite from the cake. At that moment, she started to grow again. Now she could get the key, but was too big to go through the door. Alice was too tired. With no hope, she started to cry again. The tears running from her eyes started to form a big puddle that reached the end of the corridor. Suddenly, the white bunny passed her in a hurry. Alice called out, Sir, please, hold on a minute, help me!" The bunny got away fast, without even looking at Alice. But while running, he dropped his gloves and hand fan. Alice took his stuff from the floor, and when she started to fan herself, she started to shrink again. Right at that moment, she slipped and fell into the puddle. Alice and lots of different animals swimming in the water started to drift towards the shore. When they reached the shore, they were all wet, and Alice saw the bunny again. This time the bunny thought she was his maid and asked her to bring his gloves and hand fan from his house. Alice went to the bunny's house in the forest. When she entered, she immediately found his gloves and hand fan, but right there she saw another bottle on the table. She reached to the bottle and thought, "If I drink this, maybe I can go back to my normal size." She took the bottle and drank the whole potion. Instead, she became so huge she could not even move in the house.
What am I going to do now? How will I get out of here?
In the meantime, the bunny was waiting for Alice impatiently. Fearing from Alice, the animals started to throw rocks into the house, breaking windows. The stones landing next to Alice started to turn into small cakes. When Alice started to eat these cakes, she started to shrink again and managed to go out of the house. But this time, unfortunately, she got too small. Poor Alice got so tiny she was lost between the little bushes in the woods. She started to think about what she can do to get back to her normal size. At that moment, she saw a puppy a little further away. When she called the puppy over to pat, she realized how much smaller she was next to the dog. She almost got squashed by the puppy's paws. When she was running, she stumbled over a mushroom. There was a blue caterpillar on the mushroom. She asked the caterpillar what she can do to get back to her normal size. The caterpillar answered with a wise manner.
One side of the mushroom I am standing on will make you grow. On the other side will make you shrink.
Alice took a small piece from the mushroom and put it in her mouth. Right at that moment, she had gotten so big that she could not even see her feet. To shrink back to her normal size, this time she took a piece from the other side. By eating different amounts from both sides of the mushroom, she managed to come back to her normal size. She took 2 pieces from each side and held them in her hand. While she was walking, she came across a tiny house. But to be able to get in, she had to shrink again. Eating the mushroom pieces, she started to shrink again. When she entered the house, Alice found herself in a kitchen. Right in the middle of the kitchen, there was a duchess standing with a baby in her arms. And on the floor, a fat cat was looking at Alice, smiling. It was the first time Alice saw a smiling cat. So she asked, curiously,
Why does your cat smile like that?
"Because this is a Cheshire cat," said the Duchess. At the same time, the cat became invisible and the baby in the Duchess' arms started to cry. The Duchess passed the baby over to Alice. "You rock the baby and stop her crying. I will go and play croquet with the Queen." Alice took the baby and started to rock. Suddenly, the Cheshire Cat appeared again, and smiling again, he talked to Alice.
You need to find the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. But be careful, they're both crazy.
Right after their little chat, the Cheshire Cat disappeared again. Alice angrily yelled at the cat.
Stop disappearing and reappearing again! You're freaking me out!
Cheshire Cat appeared once again, smiling.
Okay, then I will disappear slowly.
Starting from his tail, Cheshire Cat started to disappear again. Only his face remained. Alice went out of the house, and in a short while she found the March Hare's house. March Hare was having tea with the Mad Hatter under a tree. March Hare put some hay between his ears. Alice could not understand why he put hay between his ears. And the Mad Hatter had a hat on his head. The mouse between them had rested his head on the table sleeping. And they both had their arms on the mouse, using him as a pillow. When they saw Alice coming, they opposed, saying that there was no space available.
No, there's plenty of room,
said Alice. Mad Hatter asked Alice.
Why do you think the crow looks like a desk?
Why do you think?
I don't know.
Alice got really bored of these stupid and rude jokes of the Mad Hatter and March Hare. She said, This was the stupidest meeting I have been to, and went away. Alice noticed a door in the trunk of a tree. When she entered, she found a golden key. The golden key opened the door to a beautiful garden. Entering the garden, Alice was very surprised. The gardeners of the Queen of the Hearts were painting all the white roses to red, and all the men looked like playing cards. So Alice asked, "I'm curious, why are you painting all the white roses red?" So the gardener answered,
The Queen wanted red roses, but we accidentally grew white roses. If the Queen finds out, she will chop our heads off.
Right at that moment, the Queen of Hearts came to the garden. The soldiers next to her were all in the shape of playing cards. Queen of Hearts invited this strange girl she saw for the first time to play croquet. Alice never saw a croquet field like this one before. Hedgehogs were balls and flamingos were the croquet mallets. In the middle of the game, the players started to fight and throw hedgehogs at each other. The Queen was very upset with this situation. She suddenly stomped her foot on the floor and yelled with anger.
Chop off the heads of all the players who fight!
The Queen of Hearts was so angry, she cancelled the croquet party. And suddenly, there was a loud voice.
The trial has begun!
Everybody started to run towards the court. A trial was going to be held for Jack of Hearts, who supposedly had stolen a pie from the Queen's kitchen. The Queen could not catch the Jack of Hearts during this incident, therefore she could not punish him. The Jack of Hearts was held in prison during his trial. The White Rabbit started to read from the roll of paper he was holding.
On a beautiful summer day, our Queen of Hearts had baked delicious pies, and Jack of Hearts had stolen them.
The king yelled from his seat.
Call the first witness.
The first witness was the Mad Hatter. When the Mad Hatter started to talk on the witness stand in front of the king, Alice suddenly started to grow. The White Rabbit announced that it was time for Alice to take the witness stand. Hearing her name being called, Alice immediately stood up. Forgetting how big she grew, when her dress tangled on the jury stand, she turned the stand upside down, making all the members of the jury fall on the floor. The Queen asked Alice to tell everything she knows. "I don't know anything," Alice answered. The Queen yelled furiously.
You don't? Chop her head off too!
And Alice answered bravely,
I don't care about your orders. You are not my queen, and so you can't do anything to me.
As soon as Alice said these words, the king, queen, and all the playing cards started to fly towards Alice. Screaming away, Alice tried to catch them. All the commotion became a big whirlpool of cards around Alice, sucking her inside and flying her up. And finally, with the leaves flying all around her, she found herself on the field again. Her sister called out,
Alice, come on now, wake up.
When Alice woke up, she realized that everything was a dream.
Oh, wow, it was all a dream, and what an amazing dream it was. Hey sis, let me tell you about my dream. You know, a white rabbit...
Once upon a time, there lived a married couple. Although they really wanted to have a baby, well, for them, it just wasn't possible. One day his wife went to the old witch and told her she wanted a baby. "Don't be sad, my dear girl. Where there's a will, there's a way. Take this seed and plant it in a pot and wait and see. You'll be surprised." His wife was very happy. She thanked her with joy. In return for her amazing favor, she gave the witch some money. Later on, she went straight home and planted the seed in a pot. With great patience, she began to wait near the pot. Soon later, a big tulip-like flower began to blossom. Right that moment, she thought to herself, "What a beautiful flower." With its leaves still unfolded, she reached over and kissed it. Short after, the leaves began to unfold. In the flower was a child sitting down. With great confusion, the lady picked up the tiny girl in her hand. "What a tiny little child you are! Your name should be Thumbelina." The lady made Thumbelina's crib out of a walnut shell, her mattress from violet leaves, and her blanket from rose petals. Thumbelina managed to adapt to her new life with ease. At night time, she would sleep in her bed that was made just for her, and during the day she would play on the table and sing songs. One night, while she was sleeping in her bed, an ugly frog appeared from the window. It saw the little girl sleeping in a walnut shell.
Rabbit, oh my, what a tiny and beautiful girl you are. You'd make a great friend to my son.
As fast as it could, the frog grabbed the walnut shell and went out the window. Right near the house was a swamp. The house in which the ugly frog and his son lived in was right here. The son of the ugly frog was just as ugly as his father. When he saw the tiny girl his father had brought him, he croaked at the top of his lungs.
Rabbit, rabbit. Stop croaking. You're going to wake the girl up. If she wakes up, she will run away in fear. Rabbit.
The father and son decided to make the little girl a place where she could stay. Father Frog had a great idea.
Let's place the little girl on one of the lilies over at the stream. Being surrounded with all that water, it will be impossible for her to get away.
Father Frog took Thumbelina with her crib and placed it on one of the lilies. In the morning, with the sparkling light of the sun, Thumbelina woke up. When she noticed she wasn't at home and saw that she was surrounded in water, in fear she began to cry.
Where am I?
Father and Son Frog went over to get Thumbelina.
Here's your new friend. I'm preparing a great new home for you. It will be in the very deep waters of the swamp.
Father and son took Thumbelina's crib, made from a walnut shell, and swam off, leaving her right there on the leaf. At that very moment, some red fish were swimming along, and they overheard what the ugly frog was saying. They couldn't stand the idea of an ugly swamp frog upsetting such a beautiful girl such as Thumbelina.
Don't you worry, little girl. We are going to save you.
All together, they chewed on the stem of the lily where she was sitting on, and they broke it. All alone now, the leaf got caught in a rip current and managed to get away. Making way on the current in her green leaf left all the birds with great admiration.
How beautiful and tiny she is.
As she was on her way, she passed a rather big Maybug. He grabbed her as fast as he could and landed on a tree. Finding herself on a tree, Thumbelina was very frightened.
What type of a bug are you? And why did you bring me here?
I'm a Maybug, and I have never seen a bug such as yourself before, so I wanted my friends to see you.
Later on, all the other Maybugs sitting on the same tree came around to visit Thumbelina. Trying hard not to show it, all the Maybugs were jealous of her amazing beauty.
You're a funny creature.
How rickety, doesn't even have wings.
How ugly! You can barely look at her face.
You are free to go wherever you want. We don't want such an ugly thing being near us.
Thumbelina spent the whole summer all by herself. She overcame her hunger and thirst by drinking the water of the flowers. A long time passed and the weather began to cool. Because of her summer clothes, she got cold. A field appeared from afar. The field was covered in straw. After a long walk, Thumbelina made it to the field. Under the straw, she managed to find a field rat's home. With a chance on finding some food, Thumbelina knocked on his door and asked for some barley. Kind-hearted field rat took her in. She got in that instant and ate up all the food the rat had offered. The field rat really liked Thumbelina.
If you tell me a story every day, I will allow you to stay with me to the end of winter.
With great satisfaction, Thumbelina accepted her offer.
Today my neighbour will come by. He's in better condition than me. If you go with him, you'll be very comfortable. But keep in mind, he has very bad eyesight. You will need to tell your best fairy tales and occupy him forever.
A little while later, with his velvet fur on his back, appeared a mole. Thumbelina wasn't very fond with the mole, but she didn't want to disappoint him, so she agreed to sing a song for him. Fly, fly, ladybug, wedding will be tomorrow. Mommy will buy you new shoes and clothes tomorrow. Even though he had poor eyesight, the mole realized he liked Thumbelina very much and decided to take her home.
I managed to come all this way by digging a hole and making a tunnel. If you like, we can go the same way and I can show you my house.
Thumbelina was hesitant to go. Seeing the rat agreeing, Thumbelina accepted his offer. They managed to make their way. During this time, they saw a swallow lying down on the ground with its wings on its side and its head and feet tucked under its feathers.
This bird wasn't here when I was coming. It must have just fallen through the hole.
Thumbelina thought about the birds in the forest and remembered them chirping above her. She couldn't handle the sight of them being in this state and was very sad. Without the field rat or the mole seeing, she turned to the swallow and gave it a kiss.
This bird could be one of the birds that was chirping during summertime. If that's so, then I owe him a lot. Come on, Thumbelina, we are waiting for you.
She couldn't sleep that night. She knitted a quilt with the straw, went to the corridor and covered the swallow. She wet the mint leaf she used as a blanket and placed it over its head.
Please be better soon, sweet little bird.
The following day, Thumbelina went over to see the swallow and saw that its eyes were open.
I don't know how to thank you. You took such good care of me. Now I will recover in no time. Once I have totally recovered, I will be able to go next to my friends in warmer countries.
It's very cold outside. You should rest in your warm bed and recover at once.
After Thumbelina was done giving advice to the swallow, she brought some water with the help of a flower petal and helped her drink it. And later on listened to how she broke her wings, smashing into the bushes. The wounded swallow wasn't as fast as her friends. She was tired, and so she fell. At last, spring had sprung, and the sun began to warm the land once again. The swallow knew that it was time to say goodbye to Thumbelina.
Would you like to come to the forest with me?
I would have liked to come with you, but my friend the field rat would be very sad. I can't leave her.
In that case, farewell, Thumbelina. Maybe someday we will meet again.
With teary eyes, Thumbelina watched the swallow fly away. With summer ahead, Thumbelina's worries began to arise.
It is summer now. Now that the velvet-furred mole would like to marry you, we should get some beautiful clothes together.
When winter is here, be ready to live with me underground in the soil, Thumbelina.
Before Thumbelina began her life underground where it was cold and dark, she went outside for the last time to see the sun. Just as she was about to enter, right above her head, she heard a bird. When she turned her head up to have a look, she saw her most loved swallow. Thumbelina told the swallow that she was being forced to marry the mole and that she had to live underground where there was no sunlight. Winter is nearly here. We are preparing to go to warmer countries. Please come with us. You've saved my life. I would like to pay you back. This time, Thumbelina accepted the swallow's offer. And off they went. Thumbelina and the swallow flew away over the forests, seas, and the mountains covered in snow. Later, the two friends arrived at warmer countries. These places were amazing. The sun was brighter and the sky was shimmering. This is my home. Please pick the best flower for yourself.
This is beautiful.
The swallow placed Thumbelina in a beautiful flower. Amongst all this beauty, Thumbelina was very happy. Sitting in her flower and looking at it in detail, she was mesmerized. In the flower sat a tiny man as shiny as glass. This man was the fairy of this flower. Every flower had its own fairy. He was as tall as a finger. He had shiny wings on his shoulders and a golden crown on his head. It was the first time the handsome fairy had seen a beautiful girl the same size as he was.
What's your name, beautiful girl?
My name is Thumbelina.
The fairy took his crown off his head and placed it on Thumbelina's head.
If you marry me, you will be the queen amongst all these flowers. You will live a very happy life.
After having lived such cruelty, being in such beautiful environment, Thumbelina was very happy to hear such a great proposal from the very handsome fairy. The fairy held Thumbelina's hand, and right at that moment, two wings appeared on Thumbelina's shoulders. Thumbelina was now the fairy queen. Together they lived a long and happy life.